All right, so I was having this conversation not too long ago about women submitting, and that's a heavy topic about a woman submitting. I got friends that don't even like the word submit, and I get it. I think the perspective that I would take on it is that once you are asking a woman to submit, or saying that they need to submit, or once you're even having a conversation about woman or man submitting, then I think you've already lost. I think you're playing behind the 8 ball, and in order to win in that situation, we got to go back to our foundational roles, if you will. I don't think that our roles were particularly laid out for us. I do think that our roles, they just kind of came along with the things that this kind of came along naturally, if you will, and then they got branded as such and was passed down to us. And this is something that happened, through thousands of years of trial and error before we walked the earth, and it kind of branded itself. Now we're in a new era where things are, shifting. Like the system is kind of being rebuilt, like overall. I'm talking from spiritual to physical, to everything else, right? So you got different people taking on different roles and having a conversation about it. And I don't think that is new. I just think that it's kind of resurfacing. And this conversation is like, in certain instances has been blown out of proportion. And in other instances, it's been given life. So to give life to being submissive, I think that in being a man and going back to roles, our general role was to be a leader. So it starts with us being able to lead ourselves, being provided a structure where you learn leadership. Me and my wife spoke briefly about, what I offered to our son. And what I said was, my goal to teach him to be a leader is, to get him thinking independently, get him to act on things without having to be told to do it, because that's what leaders do. You're not told to do something, you try to get to it before you're actually told to do it. And by the time someone tells you to do it, it should, along the lines in most cases, be an additive or it should be something that you're already in the midst of doing. It should be on your schedule or something like that. So the roles I teach him through leadership is just to keep his room clean. That's the first form of structure. It's a million different things in his room that he has to clean. It's a million different things he has to think about. So thinking in structure is like having an order. Like, I'm gonna do this, do this, do this, and do that. So the order, and I'm not putting it in any specific order, could be making his bed, making sure his shoes are lined up and easily identifiable when he's trying to put an outfit on. With his shoes being easily identifiable and lined up in order, he can match them up with an outfit that's carefully placed on a hanger in the closet. Or if he wants to watch his TV, he can see the remote, he knows where it is, he can turn it on and just watch TV. If he wants to play the game, his controllers are there, the game is here, his games to play with are there, and he can easily get to that and play a game. If he wants to read a book, his books are on the shelf and in order, where he can identify the book that he wants to read. Now, the opposite of that would be chaos. And a room looking chaotic, you all know what that looks like, when things are just out of order. The bed is not made, the controller can't be found, you're hanging, the clothes are all over the place and everywhere. You don't know what's dirty, what's clean. And that's not to say that people are dirty. I'm not implying that a person is dirty. I'm just saying that if that is your household, you may not have been presented with the value of order and keeping yourself disciplined to keep things in order. It's not a bad thing. I would reckon to say that the majority of people I meet in life are not dirty people. They're clean people. It's a certain mindset that you develop with keeping the house in order. And naturally, foundationally, that's what men offer through leadership, a sense of order, a sense of wanting to be able to find things, use things, seize things, and work from that perspective. So men, going back to finding or wanting a woman to submit, if you will, it starts with you. If you have to have a conversation, I think that you're losing, you know, because a woman naturally submits to a man that understands how to lead himself and lead a household through his decision making. Are his decisions making progress with the household? Are his decisions putting the household in a positive place where the household can thrive, where they can, like, you know, just move about in peace and not have to worry about certain things? Ultimately, can she trust you with leading yourself and then leading a household through particular things? It doesn't have to be like, you know, ruling with an iron fist or, you know, what I say goes. Like, I think that that's for the most part out the window. That form of leadership is very singular, a singular way of thinking, and it's missing a lot of detail. Personal opinion. It can work, but I think it only works for a certain amount of time before that individual that's submitting wants to be broken free from feeling like they're in a cage. Personal opinion. But yeah, it starts with you being a leader and understanding how to lead yourself. And it's real easy if you start when you're a kid with something as simple as keeping your room in a structured, orderly, clean, neat fashion. You expand from the room to the household. Now you're doing household duties outside of your room, keeping things neat, clean, and in an orderly fashion. Then outside of these four walls, you are entering the four corners of the world. Are you walking straight on the right side of the sidewalk? Are you driving, you know, in proper order? Ultimately, are you governing yourself when you're out there in the world? All of these things come with leadership. All of them come with order. I haven't mentioned anything yet about paying bills, because all of those things will naturally put themselves in priority and in order if you could do these simple steps first with keeping yourself in order. But yeah, I would like to say my wife is submissive. She's not the only one. You know, I'm very submissive also. And my form of submissiveness is just waking up and showing her love. Our roles and how we cater to each other, our roles just as men and women, are particularly different. We got different love languages. So when I say submit, I'm submitting to her love language. One thing I value is my time. She'll tell you when she first met me, I love to be in my own world. And I could stay there all day and just be in my own world. The negative or the con to that with that, I could be viewed as or become emotionally unavailable. And that's not a good form of leadership when it's other people in the household. And it's not, it doesn't keep her in the loop. It keeps her guessing as to like, yo, does he really care about me? And that will create emotional instability. One of the things I admired about my wife when I first met her was that I said that you're probably one of the most emotionally stable women that I've ever been with. And that still stands true. But she broke down at one point in time when, you know, she felt like she wasn't seen in the household. And it wasn't just that she told me. It was quite a few things that followed behind that. And I had to man up. I had to man up and figure out what I was doing wrong, because now this is not the first time I'm hearing that I'm emotionally unavailable and I'm making someone feel unseen. That's not what I wanted. That's not what I felt I was doing. In my mind, in my own world, you know, I'm thinking that all the pieces are together. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. She's loved. I'm showing her love every day, the way I see it, not the way she sees it. So to go back to my point about time, I value my time. I value and I love entertaining and being in my own world. But now I'm not alone, and I have to engage in her world and my little guy's world and my daughter's world. I have to think outside of myself because there's more people in my life besides me now. And that wasn't something that was passed along to me. That wasn't something that I was taught in my household. My mother was very busy. She worked 3 jobs most of the time. She didn't have a lot of time to spend with us. And when she did, I loved it. I really did. You know, I was a kid. I loved it. As I grew into a teenager, I still loved it. As I got into a teenager / adult, I still loved it. But it's like, I don't get this enough. I don't even know if I can trust this at this point, because it was so touch and go. But I realized being with my wife that was something that I needed as well. Just to someone to be emotionally stable with me as well, be patient, and help me be a better me. Ultimately, that's what she offered. She helped me be a better me by showing me what she was going to accept and what she wasn't going to accept, or just making me aware of what I was doing and how it was making her feel. So me honoring her feelings was me accepting what she wasn't going to accept because she's in her feelings about it. And that could have went a number of ways. It really could have, but I really believe had it was already spiraling down, and had it continued, it would have continued spiraling down. So I had to make a choice. I had to make a decision. And with that decision, to be intentional every day, intentional, AKA being submissive to her love language every day, it made everything in my life that much better. From a man's perspective, happy wife, happy life. From a woman's perspective, I believe that you ladies can see it as happy husband, happy loving. It's a co-operation. But just particularly speaking to you brothers, if you take the role or take the lead on expressing love, like I know you're capable of doing, you will find the most submissive, loving, amazing woman that you never knew existed in your life. You come across a woman like that and you love her and her love language. You find out what her language is. I can give you 3 easy ways to figure that out, and you figure out the things that influence her. Pay attention to those little small details. You can read the book on love languages, take the test on it. It's a multitude of ways you can figure out how a person wants to be loved and love them in that language. But be patient with it. Maybe they may not be used to receiving that. You got to be consistent with it too. I'm just telling you the things that work for me. I had asked for consistency. I made it one of my resolutions, pre-New Year. I don't do the whole New Year thing so much, but pre-New Year, I said to myself, you know what? I want to be more consistent with everything I do in my life. I want to be more of a listener. So coming from a person that loves to talk, I started to be put in more positions of where I had to listen, because I'm meeting people that can talk more than me. So that helped shape me or mold me to become a better listener, and I'm still becoming a better listener because I still love to express and talk a lot. But being consistent, I actually be consistent. So I was put in a position every day where here's the challenge to be consistent. And lo and behold, overall, my wife can attest to this. You can get her word for it. I've become pretty consistent with loving her in her language or languages on a daily basis. I'm intentional about it, AKA submissive to doing it every day. I'm repeating that for a reason. If you can wake up being intentional and having that on your mind, that's putting her in as a top priority. It could be something as simple like, I don't know what your lady or what your significant other's love language is, but to the ones that have been identified to me through the book, they've become pretty popular at this point in time. I learned about this book in 2006, so it's been about 15 years now since I've been aware of it. I just started to develop the idea or the concepts behind it relatively recently. And when you take on those things like acts of service, quality time, gifts, physical touch, or words of affirmation, whichever one of those might be for your significant other, you figure it out, you act on it on a daily basis, and they will submit. They will submit to loving you in your language. And if you want to treat your relationship like a business, a lot of people say marriage is a business, and it can be, okay. So treat the intimate part of it like a business as well. If you want to make it that transactional in a business, what do? You are consistent. You are intentional about the things that you do. You make those things in your business like a top priority if you want to keep the business running and operating. And generally, one of those unspoken principles in business is to give, then ask. Well, that leads to a person submitting to you naturally. If you're giving, and then you're asking, it's like, oh, wow. Psychologically, it's triggered in their thought, like, if you're being consistent, this person gives a lot to me every day. I have no problem giving them what they're asking for and more. Generally, when you're dealing with a woman, from a man to a woman relationship, you give her, or just, a woman in general, what you give to a woman, you give her what she's asking for, she has the tendency to multiply it. You give her anything. I'm just repeating stuff that people have heard before. You give her sperm, she gives you a child. Put her in a house, she turns it into a home. Give her groceries, she turns it into food. If you give her love, she'll give you love exponentially. You get what I'm saying? So, fellas, if you really get into a habit of giving your significant other those things that they're asking for, you get exactly what you want. But be patient. Learn how to love yourself. Learn how to be happy with yourself, even if someone externally is not giving you what you need from the jump. And really bind to those universal principles that give, then ask. If a person has an individual that's consistent with their love language in their life like that, they know they have something to lose because they become protective of that. They don't want too many people to experience that, or they just ultimately don't want that walking out the door towards anybody, for fear that they may not be receiving what they want to receive through that level of consistency. And I'm not sure how your relationships line up. Maybe you have multiple relationships with multiple people. That just means you got a lot of love to give if you want to keep those relationships in motion. I think we really have to get back to the idea that although we're being promoted individualism, that's not something that's sustainable long term. Something that's sustainable long term is like loving in general, thinking outside of yourself, giving to someone without the expectation, so to speak, of receiving. Yeah, sure, we all want to receive back what we want to receive back, but can we withdraw anything if we haven't made those deposits? What is it that you're asking for? What are you trying to withdraw if you haven't put in enough deposits to withdraw? So if we counted love or acts of love on a regular basis, let's just say you committed 2 acts of love a day for a week. Doing the math, that'd be 14 acts of love by the end of the week. And you ask for 2 or 3 things in return. You put those withdrawals in, you should be able to deposit or get a return on your investment. That's if you're treating your relationship like a business. You can use that business language if you like and still make things happen, but you just got to keep things in proper perspective. And once you keep things in proper perspective or in a structure and an order, as a man, I'm speaking to the fellas still, vicariously talking to ladies as well, vicariously or indirectly, excuse me. You'll find a lot of success. You'll find a lot of success in your relationship. So I guess business and relationships are very similar. They share very similar language. It just depends on how you're thinking about it, right? But yeah. I just wanted to pass that message on to folks. It was something that I was thinking about that I wanted to give independently to whoever is watching right now, But life is good. When you have someone that you know is submitting to loving you on a regular basis, they do things to show you that. They show you that, they have something to lose, or they just living their life kind of in a bubble outside of what the world is displaying to you for the most part. It's a beautiful thing. If I had to describe it myself, it's a beautiful thing to be able to just live my life like this and just focus on the things to increase or make that life better without all the stresses that come when your relationship is out of order or when your business is out of order. That's a lot of stress. It's a lot of aging. You age fast. You get sicker more often. You have you got too many things to focus on. You end up playing games. You end up being trapped in a world of chaos, and you don't have peace. Another thing, ladies, just for you real quick, men settle where they find peace. This boy is back here going crazy. But men settle where they find peace. Yeah, you can look good for the time being. You can have a very sexy body and things like that, and that'll be attractive, but it's short-lived. I'm telling you now, it's short-lived. It's only going to last for so long before you see somebody else that if that's all you're presenting, that he sees and it catches his attention. And it's like, oh, wow, this person is at least equally attractive, or she has a bigger butt, if it's real, or her body is shaped a different way. Oh, wow, I spoke to her and she catered to me. This it's real easy, you know, to fall into those traps or put themselves in a position to be in a position if all you're presenting is something physical. It has to be deeper than that. By nature, we're all innately deeper than our physical makeup. Not to say that that's not a part of it, it is, but what you present on the outside really does determine who you are on the inside. So if you're putting so much emphasis on your physical appearance, how much work are you doing here? You know, the mental work is probably more important than the physical. When you take care of this, you take care of the physical work. So yeah, men settle where they find peace. If you can come home and the tone in the household is peaceful, ladies, you have a peaceful man. You have a man that'll, you know, bend over backwards for you, do practically anything for you. But yeah, I could talk about this all day. Anybody got any questions, leave some questions in the comments, you know, anything you want to say to me in particular, anything you agree or disagree with, just let me know. And hopefully I can get more consistent with putting these videos out soon. Love y'all, man.